Express is the latest film based off the book of the same name, this time directed by and starring Kenneth Branagh. In the film, a group of passengers are traveling across Europe in a luxury train when in the middle of the night someone is killed and an avalanche stops the train dead in its tracks. Luckily, the world's greatest detective, Hercule Poirot, I don't know how to pronounce it.
My name is Hercule Poirot.
Is on board and he's on the case trying to discover who is the killer before he can strike again. Everyone is a suspect, everyone must be investigated, and every clue must be taken seriously. And thus, we have our movie. Now, before I dive too much into my thoughts on it, I will say this. The trailer for the movie is a little bit misleading in that it uses music by Imagine the Dragon and it focuses on the very small amount of action in the film. It gives the impression that this is kind of a modernization of the Murder on the Orient Express story, when in actuality, it's a very true, faithful, old-fashioned telling of the story. This is a Kenneth Branagh film, and it feels like a Kenneth Branagh film. It doesn't feel like this Imagine the Dragon slick modernization of it or anything like that. It's just a true, traditional telling of this story in the year 2017. Now, before I give my thoughts, be sure to give your thoughts down below in the comments section. It seems to be a movie that's split about 50-50 based on Rotten Tomatoes, whether people like it or don't like it. So tell me your thoughts down below. With that said, let's start talking about the good. And right off the bat, the best thing about this movie is the cast, being led by Kenneth Branagh, who just is so fun and quirky as this character that I can't pronounce his name, and almost no one in the movie can pronounce his name. It's just such an odd, smart detective character that just sees the little details and sees through things and played with like a quirk and a charm that just makes him interesting to see throughout the film and kind of go along as he interviews all these people. You want to spend more time with him. You want to see more stories with this interesting character, and Kenneth Branagh just brings a great performance out of this character. Along the same lines, you can just kind of go down the list of the cast, and it's just, just an amazing who's who of actors of the last 30 years or so, and all of them bring a great performance, a charm, little idiosyncrasies to each of their characters that just makes for a bunch of characters you love to be around. One of the standouts here, I'll go with Johnny Depp, because he's one of those people pick on a lot, because he does so many movies where he's putting on white face makeup, doing these weird Jack Sparrow type impressions, and just so big, wacky characters that we forget he's a world-class actor. And in this movie, it's not like he gives this amazing world-class performance. It's just kind of a subtle performance, but he disappears into it. It's like this immersive acting where you see a new character come alive, and you forget that Johnny Depp can do that. And his character, what he performs on screen here, you just see him like, do more of this, buddy. Like, you can really act. Do it, more of it. But everyone in the movie is great. Along those same lines, there's a murder mystery that kind of takes you along throughout the whole thing in this period piece environment that you just enjoy the surroundings, the mystery, trying to piece together, okay, how does all this tie together as you're going along? And just the quirk, the humor, the charm of all of this adventure makes for just an enjoyable murder mystery ride. And as you go through this ride and you get the discoveries and you understand motives and where people are coming from, there's actually some emotional depth to it and the twists and turns that kind of can pull on some people's heartstrings. Perhaps someone that I went to go see the movie with might have gotten quite emotional towards the end of the film. And that's because it's a well-crafted story where you care about the characters and the journey that you're on throughout. However, it's a movie that for me personally, it didn't hit me as hard and was not as interesting and powerful as I thought that it could be. So let's move on to the bad. And it's a movie where it's tricky to pinpoint exactly what didn't work because the cast was so good. It's based off great source material and has these elements that kind of come together, but it never hit as hard for me as I felt that it could have. And there's a few reasons for that, I think. Part of it is the way that it's shot. Branagh does a lot of these kind of long takes, but it's edited together kind of funky. So it'll be like a long take of walking down the outside of the train, watching two people talk, and they'll be talking for a little bit, and then it'll cut to the inside, and it's suddenly a close-up, and it's a little bit jarring. And there's several things like that that kind of pulled me out of it, just the way he decided to shoot it and try and do something interesting with this environment that's fairly restrictive, and so there's a lot of these overhead shots, and some of it just didn't quite sit quite right for me. Perhaps some of it's the nature nature of the story and where they go with it and the mystery of it, it depends on information that we don't have as the audience. There's a bunch of information that exists out in the world of these characters, but as we're going through the murder mystery and things are kind of happening and things are revealed, the reveals aren't, oh, I missed that clue that was there. Oh, so this thing happened. It feels a little bit like a series of deus ex machinas to us because we didn't have this information. It's just like, oh, our lead guy just knows things that we can't possibly know. And so for me, that kind of made some of the murder mystery side to it not click and hit as hard as I wanted it to, because like I can't figure this out because I didn't have any of this information. And maybe that's the nature of the story, but it certainly was frustrating to me to kind of feel like every time that there was a big reveal, it just was like new information is thrown in that they had that we didn't have. And when this leads to kind of a climax of all the different kind of pieces coming together as you figure out the big picture of everything happening, it felt very much kind of like surprise information, as well as some of the twists and turns with the characters towards the end just felt like they came a little bit out of nowhere, and so it didn't hit as hard for me as I wanted it to. So overall, this is a movie that I did enjoy. There's great things about it, especially the cast. I did enjoy my time with it, but it doesn't kind of ascend to this kind of great level or one that I imagine I'd want to rewatch or like tell a bunch of people, you gotta go check this one out. No, it's a good solid time to check out. Overall, I think I'd probably give this one like a 7 out of 10. It's a good effort. It's enjoyable enough. It doesn't quite get up to that great category. And if I'm being honest, this is probably one you can wait till Redbox to check out. And if you do, if you like the trailer, you'll probably like the movie a good bit, but it's not one that there's a rush to go check out this great new Kenneth Branagh murder mystery. It's not quite that. So that's my take on it. How about you? Tell me your thoughts down below in the comments section. Did you love it? Did you hate it? And had you seen the previous versions before? This is kind of my first take on Murder on the Orient Express, and so it was all kind of new to me. With that said, if you're new to my channel, please consider clicking that subscribe button. I do movie reviews, TV reviews, ranking videos, but the key thing is I don't want to just talk about movies. I want to talk about movies with you. So join me in the comments section. Let's have a lively discussion, and thank you so much for watching.